Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I am so happy to be back in the great state of Texas. Thank you. Thank you. The people of Texas are proud. They're independent and they are free. There is no better place to deliver the message I have to deliver tonight than right here, right in the middle of freedom. Thank you. Tonight's message is about redeclaring our independence as a country. On November 8th, a very, very important date, we are going to declare our independence from special interest, corrupt politicians, and I might add, very corrupt politicians, and from a rigged system that benefits only the insiders. We're going to bring our jobs back. We're bringing them back to our country, and we're going to create millions of new jobs. We are going to declare our independence from politicians who don't listen to us and media executives that don't care about us, and by the way, who never report our massive and very, very friendly crowds, that's for sure. We are going to declare our independence from rising crime, soaring poverty rates, and crushing debt.
We're going to continue to monitor this. We're really particularly looking for his comments on immigration tonight because that is really one of the main headlines of this evening. We'll bring those to you. I want to bring in, though, Jeff Zeleny, who's joining us now with the latest reporting on the Clinton Foundation and reporting by the Associated Press. What did they find, Jeff?
Anderson, in a nutshell, this Associated Press report says that more than half of the people who met with Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State contributed to the Clinton Foundation. Now, the Clinton campaign is pushing back hard on this report tonight. In a statement, spokesman Brian Fallon says this. He says this story relies on utterly flawed data. It cherry-picked a limited subset of Secretary Clinton's schedule to give a distorted portrayal of how often she crossed paths with individuals connected to charitable donations to the Clinton Foundation. The data, he says, does not account for more than half of her tenure as Secretary of State. Anderson.
Now, Donald Trump, how has he been reacting to this AP report about the Clinton Foundation? Because it certainly comes at a very good time for the Trump campaign. This is something they have been focusing on now for the last several days.
It does indeed. I mean, Donald Trump and his running mate Mike Pence have been calling for the Clinton Foundation to be shut down. So tonight they are using this story to fire up their supporters as another example suggesting what they believe the Clintons are corrupt. Trump says this is evidence of pay for play. But important to point out, we have no evidence of that in our own reporting here after going over thousands of emails. And of course, there are some more emails still to come here. But there's no question it creates at least the appearance of conflicts. And for the Clinton campaign, that's another headache here in this ongoing controversy. But tonight, a State Department spokesman also told CNN that donors to the foundation actually do request meetings. They're interested in global affairs, humanitarian affairs. So they say there's nothing unusual or improper about that. But in this political context, this gives fresh meat to the Trump campaign, and I suspect he will use it tonight.
Well, I guess one of the questions to be determined is, do they get these meetings because they're donating to the foundation, or do they get these meetings as people do with the State Department? And are they requesting these meetings specifically through the Clinton Foundation, who then, the Clinton Doug Band guy who works for the foundation contacts Huma Abedin and gets the ball rolling that way? So a lot still to be learned. Jeff Zeleny, thanks. The panel is back. Also joined this hour by Washington Post political reporter Philip Bump. How important is this? Because it certainly plays into the narrative that Donald Trump and Mike Pence have been hitting hard.
Right. No, that's exactly right. I mean, one of the things that Hillary Clinton didn't want to have happen is to have the tone of the campaign shift. We saw right before the conventions that the FBI came out and was talking about her emails, and her numbers sank as a result of that. She doesn't want to see that happen again. I will say, though, that in terms of how bad things could be for Hillary Clinton, this is a fresh story. I think this is probably not that bad over the long run, simply because it's the Clinton Foundation. There really are a lot of gaps in that AP story in terms of who she met with and what the relationship was. I think that Donald Trump would be in great position here if he himself hadn't started taking contributions, because one of the things this shows is how sausage is made in D.C. It's an ugly process. It's always been an ugly process. Donald Trump would be much stronger on this if he could also say, I'm not even taking money.
Well, also, I mean, Paul, you guys look so much alike. And I said this to Kellyanne Conway. I mean, Donald Trump gave, by the foundation reports, more than $100,000, or at least $100,000 to the Clinton Foundation. So was he also, if it was pay to play, it seems like, was that part of why he was giving money?
Right, and Kellyanne told you, well, his motives were pure, but these others weren't. And I read the AP story, and I'll let the campaign fight with the AP over the methodology. It's not my business. 12 of the 40 paragraphs in that story, though, were devoted to Hillary meeting with Muhammad Yunus. Now, I know about him half of my life because he's a friend of Bill Clinton's back from when Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas. Dr. Yunus won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He won the Congressional Gold Medal. By the way, Bill Clinton promoted him.
But that's what the Clinton campaign has come forward and said, look,
but it's 12 out of the 40 paragraphs in the story. I'm not cherry picking, Anderson. It's the plurality of the analysis of the AP. This is a man who's probably done more to alleviate extreme poverty in the world than anybody alive today.
There were certainly those people
she
was meeting who, had a visa problem, wanted help with something.
What's wrong with that?
Well, that's what for voters to decide.
No, but I mean, people have visa problems. What the hell?
But meeting with Secretary
Let me make a broader point.
I mean,
when this is a new thing, this is why Clinton people get angry and say there's a double standard. When I was helping run Bill Clinton's campaign against George Bush Sr., George Bush Sr. started the Points of Light Foundation. Every single day, he named a point of light promoting that foundation. We thought it was great. We didn't research it. We didn't attack it. By the way, journalists didn't look through it either. When Bob Dole was running the Senate, his wife was running the American Red Cross, a wonderful foundation. She did a great job. Why did we not criticize it? Well, because the Bushes are good people and the Doles are good people, but the Clintons, they're scum. See, the Clintons always get the presumption of criminality and venality, and it really makes me angry. It's completely unfair.
And look, if you think about the concept, who are the kind of people who give to the Clinton Foundation? International and national philanthropists who are concerned with the state of affairs, the health, HIV, malaria, tuberculosis, Haiti earthquakes of folks around the world.
But
who meets with the Secretary of State?
But critics
those
will
same
also
kind
say
of folks.
that, look, there is a social component to the Clinton Global Initiative. It's rubbing elbows with Bill Clinton, with Hillary Clinton.
And doing good for the world.
Well, yes, but there, there's plenty of organizations you can do that and not get to meet Bill Clinton.
Few as effective as the Clinton Foundation in their short period. They've always been rated in the top levels of the nonprofit ratings out there. And again, the people and Paul's right, the campaign is right on the AP validity and the way they did the reporting, which is flawed. But also, I'm just not surprised that a Secretary of State met with international philanthropists. It makes sense to me as the kind of people who our Secretary of State should be talking about.
The essence of the problem here is her judgment. And I just find it remarkable. After all of the controversies that she has had and President Clinton has had throughout their entire career, she gets a clean slate as Secretary of State. And 4 years later, she's embroiled in email controversies and controversies about the Clinton Foundation. That is because she has poor judgment, whether it's a server in her basement or whether it's the mix between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department. That's a bad thing to do. On its surface, you should say, we've got to have some sort of separation here or we can't be doing it. We shouldn't be putting servers in the basement. That's a judgment question, and that is what voters are going to be looking at.
Tara James Carville was on the program last night and said, look, people are making a big deal about this, apparent conflict of interest, and people are going to die because of this, because of the 9 million people or so get low-cost HIV drugs or free HIV drugs because of the work of the Clinton Foundation and others. So what do you say to him?
Well, I think that that's really hyperbole. People are going to die. I mean, that's typical Democrat lefty talking points with that. It's always somebody's going to die. Look, the Clinton Foundation, they have partnerships with NGOs and all kinds of other charities all over the world. I'm sure someone could pick up the slack. I don't think that that all the partners that they work with are not going to pick up the slack to make up for the Clinton Foundation no longer being in existence, because like Ed Rendell, the former Democrat governor of Pennsylvania, said only a week ago that it would need to shut down because it has an appearance of impropriety. And then he had to walk that back because I guess the campaign didn't like that, because you can't square, well, how come it didn't look like there was an appearance of conflict of interest when she was Secretary of State, but there will be if she's president? So that he had to walk it back and say, oh, well, she has to keep her distance from it. I mean, the Clinton Foundation, it's as the National Review said, that it is ethically insufficient. The lines that were blurred in between the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, and the State Department. And every week now, we're seeing more and more people who have that incestuous relationship with the Clinton Foundation and the official business at the State Department. And it's what everybody thinks is pay to play in Washington. This is a perfect example of it.
Got to take a quick break. We'll have more with our panel about this. Also, Donald Trump's shifting immigration policy, how some of his staunchest supporters may react to the changes that seem to be in the works. We'll continue to watch his event tonight with an eye out for any remarks he makes about immigration or any other headlines.
DeRoy Murdoch published data confirming what I've been saying about the devastating economic